Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mnvl Wednesday Night Valorant. I am your host, Skeptor, and joining me on the broadcast tonight, I have two very special guests, one being Epiphany, and now the new and final intern of this season here, Cookie. Thank you for joining us tonight. How about you introduce yourself?
Ah, yeah. I'm Cookie. I'm the new casting intern here at Mnvl. I am doing Valorant, and I will be continuing on the Valorant streams from here on forward.
Sweet.
Uh, Getting into it today, Epiphany. What does the game look like tonight?
Yeah, so the first matchup that we're going to be seeing tonight is going to be Matamidai versus Washington Tech. Now, Skep, we watched those guys play last week, Washington Tech specifically, and I got to tell you, Washington Tech, they did a real good job. It was a 13-6 win over Roseville, so I'm feeling confident for them going into this matchup based on the fact that they're playing the same map as well.
Yeah, right. That's the point right there. Key thing. They're back on the same map we saw them week one. Their Ascent gameplay looked very good on both sides of the map. Their team coordination on countless rounds really was the difference maker that we saw. And I think we can expect more good things coming out of Washington Tech. A big keynote as well. Both of our teams this evening coming in and winning both their week one matches. So one of these teams is going to walk away 2-0 tonight, and one of these teams, unfortunately, is going to take their first loss of the season. So, that's always a big thing to look at. But I
Super
mean,
big thing.
yeah,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, you're good, man.
All right.
Listen, we're working on three. Okay,
Yeah,
just
we're,
we'll
we're
let
doing the
everybody
three.
know right now. 3-man cast is a different ball game. I should have given that direction. We'll take it back up top here. I mean, so Washington
Yeah.
Tech and Matamidai are two schools that, frankly, didn't make it quite far or even make it to state last season, if my memory serves me right. So both these squads definitely trying to have a better start to their season, right? I mean, so many games and playoff positioning comes back to some of your early season games, right? Granted, most teams aren't going to be as well-oiled machines as they could be, right? Teams are still figuring out their flow, figuring out how they want to play the game and approach it in a team aspect. So I think these early season wins are very important to find. Cookie, this being your first broadcast, you're an ex-player here in the MNVL Valorant League. I mean, what are big things, and what is really morale boosting for teams early on in seasons?
Morale boosting, obviously, as cliche as it sounds, is definitely winning those early games. Building that momentum right at the start of the season can really kick up a player's mental in I can make it far here and I'm going to do well. And in general, from my point in perspective, also, I think taking a loss early in the season is better for mental long term. So I think no matter what happens here today, both teams are going to come out in probably a better mental state for the rest of the season. And we'll have to see what happens today. I mean, we're set for a really interesting repeat of kind of what happened last week with Washington Tech on Ascent. And Epiphany, who do you see coming out winning today?
I mean, honestly, I think you touched on a few very, very important things. I'll say for starters, of course. I think those will all be big, big, big factors when you consider who's going to win in this match. However, when I look at this specific one, with how Washington Tech looked last week, how they are playing Ascent again, as you had mentioned, I think those are some big, big things that you need to consider when figuring out who's going to win this one. So I've got Washington Tech taking this one. I don't know if it's going to be as dominant as before. We'll have to see, but I'm confident that they can pull it off here today.
You know, I think it's always interesting, right? We didn't get a chance to see who Matamidai, how their game necessarily went. We didn't get a live stream of that of any sort. So
Hmm.
it unpredictable knowing how they really played, right? I don't know what map they played on. I don't know what the score line of said game was, but the things that we do know are how Washington Tech handled Roseville on Ascent. And I mean, throughout both sides of the map and game, they had very good knowledge, right? They had good set plays that they were running with. Countless times they kept finding themselves up numbers, right? Epiphany. We saw so many clutch rounds go over the way of Washington. And I mean, you got to think that they're riding that high and coming into it. But at the same time, across the server, Matamidai won their match. So both these teams confident that they can come out and find the victory here, I think is going to lead to a very, very exciting first game here. Week 2 action, folks. I want to give a quick shout out to VERSION1, our main sponsor of the evening. Guys, V1 has been with us for a very long time now. We have a great relationship with this squad. I mean, dude, one of the premier Minnesota esports organizations. These guys just won the NA Fall Cup in Rocket League. Top of the heat right now, wearing the crown in Rocket League. They have some sick content, some brand new skins in Rocket League. I mean, Epiphany, you want to say anything else for our good friends over at V1?
I mean, yeah, like the Rocker Home series, they just announced they're flying out the Boston Breach, the London Royal Ravens, Los Angeles Gorillas, and the Florida Mutineers here to Minnesota for 2 separate events where you can come watch pro COD players play live. So if you're interested in Call of Duty like I am, because you know I'll be there, make sure to get your pre-sale tickets for that as quick as possible.
For sure, man. So big shout outs to V1. I mean, let's get back into some more Valorant action for the evening, but in the end, big shout outs to V1, right? Couldn't be here without them. We got a couple commands. I think maybe Vibe Squad might be one, something.
Yeah.
So we'll get on that later, but I'll make sure I have those off the top of the head when I come back to it. But I mean, a second game, we haven't really talked about it yet. We are going to be featuring the reigning and defending champions, Apple Valley coming out, making their season debut against Egan after, which is going to be an explosive match in itself. But right now, Agent Select, I mean, go ahead and take away, guys. What are you seeing? What are you liking right now?
Well, as you mentioned with our upcoming game here, Apple Valley in the past has always been such a joy to watch on stream. They always manage to pull together some of the most awesome games in the past, but it's really a moment for them to really prove that they can continue on as a leading team in the league now that 3 of their former members have departed the team and only 2 championship winners still remain. It'll be very interesting to see how they continue to play in this league in their next game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the big thing, right? Like when you look at these 2 rosters, especially that we're looking at being locked in here, I'm noticing a few key things off the bat. You've got that chamber for both of these squads. That's one of those key heroes, one of the key characters that we're seeing very, very frequently. Looks like we've had a cut back here. We might be resetting the lobby, something like that. But, what makes me very, very curious is how that will be incorporated into the strategy here on Ascent. But what makes it even more interesting, I feel like, is what deviations are you seeing from the standard composition? What heroes are you seeing that might be kind of not the same as usual?
Nothing crazy that I caught there. I mean, a lot of standard picks, right? We saw Omen, we saw Chamber. Chamber being, I mean, just still one of the most prevalent characters. He's been nerfed time and time again. I think this final nerf coming up might be the nail, but we'll have to see. Gameplay coming up right around the corner.
Well, it's time to get right into the action here very, very shortly. 25 seconds left here on the prep phase, and now it's going to be all about the defense here for Matamidai over towards that A site. Chamber getting things ready to go, and it seems like Washington already gearing up for an attack over towards A. We'll see how they decide to execute this one.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're probably pretty well off going A on the first round. I think this is going to be a really interesting round.
For sure, and well, as things kick off here, reveals of locations, it's going to be information in the hands of Matamidai here. One starts to fall, though, and now already man advantage over to Matamidai. Players all over this A site right now, but you can see Washington already switching back, watching that flank, making sure nobody's hitting a route on them, because you do have to start to get worried about one of these Matamidai players starting to wrap. You can look at number 5 on your map right there. That's Omen, already trying to maybe find his way through, cut off a few angles, and making Washington spread out. Wonder where the rest of them are.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you could see that on the back there, some of them are already playing off onto the other site, and look at this, Matamidai is already playing. Oh, and we have some action on the catwalk.
Healer down.
Yeah, actually
It-
gonna go down. It's gonna be the first kill, not the second though for Jet just yet. There it is, Yuhyun. Great set of kills. We were watching him before. Did such a great job, and he's looking to continue it here in this matchup. 3-on-4 right now, man advantage to Washington. Look who's in the site. It's Washington now, trying to get that spike down. It looks like already done. So now it's all about creating the fortress and making sure Matamidai can't find their way in.
Yeah, Sleepy's holding them up here on balcony. He's holding behind green box. Oh, and the flank by Yuhyun. Yo!
Oh, Yuhyun! That is how you start off round number 1 here on Ascent. That is a great start here for Washington. And if there's any other way that I want them to continue this series, it's that. Skep, what are your initial thoughts on that round right there as we kick things off?
From your defending squad, right? Chamber finds that first blood, but then off the back of that, Yuhyun showing that precision aim and gunplay through the middle of the map. He catches the flank and then has the defenders not knowing what happened, right? Beautiful flank play coming out from the attackers, and Washington Tech getting back to those fast attacks here. Epiphany, here it comes again. B main.
Yeah, here we go again. B main already going to be the target for Washington Tech, and they're going fast. Reyna gonna start using some of those abilities, and now you can see that it is a cluster here on B. The trades go down, and suddenly Washington, with the members of their squad in the favor, completely up. Flawless round right now. Chamber, last one up, last one down. Washington, you can see it right there on the front of your screen. A flawless and quick round.
Oh, that was so clean and quick. I mean, that push was just effortless, and they made it look easy. It's never really gonna be that easy in practice, on hand, I mean, but they really did make it look just that simple to get such an easy, flawless round on the second round. We'll have to see what they do going into the third round here. Look at their bye.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens, but I mean, maybe touch more a little bit on that buy, because I'm kind of curious what you're thinking the strategy is right now for a squad like Matamidai, who just lost 2 rounds in a row. I mean, we start to see some of the action on the B site, Waldo alone, but well, we kind of see this unfold. What are your thoughts around that?
Definitely, I think the buy strategy on a round like this would definitely be to buy a little heavier, maybe sacrifice on the shield a little bit. But what they have decided to do is kind of all play Spectres, maybe pick up a Phantom there. And so, in general, they're just trying to help out this round. An interesting tactic they probably could have tried is to just save for another round and pick up the rifles next round. And
for sure, talk about picking up kills right there. Yeah, you were about to say it. Spret gonna get taken down. Washington now within the site. Spike gonna get planted, and Matamidai, the numbers are starting to reduce. A Sage, you're the last one up. You can't do too much with the shotgun. Take one down with you, but still 4 men up on the site. Washington, great job.
Yeah, that was definitely a round for the attackers. In general, they just capitalized off the gun advantage there. It was too much of an advantage for them to defend from, in my opinion, and we'll have to see how Matamidai decides to combat now this disadvantage of 3 rounds going into the 4th one. We're getting into some pretty critical rounds for the rest of the game here.
Yeah, super critical rounds, and you know, as we move into this one, I'm looking at players on Washington Tech that I want to see really show out. It's Yuhyun. That has got to be the player that I want to see go wild, because I know he can do it. He's already starting things off strong, though. I mean, you can see him leading the assault towards mid-map right now, as you can see arrows start to move very quickly. Rotation over towards A. Chamber gonna be there, and you can see as well that towards the back spawn still is Matamidai trying to cut off Washington's push. The cut could have been there for Lex, it could have been there for Sif, but both get taken down. You get one through the smoke if you're Spret, but then you get traded out. Sleeping towards the top side though, give him 1, give him 2, make it a 2-piece. Washington up 4-0 here in the game.
That was a lot of power up Cat there. They really made sure to move Cat slowly and quietly, and then really show their numbers once they felt like they were close and safe enough to A site. Just the way he played around, and then the way Yuhyun saw and heard those people on the top of stairs back there, it's really just a power move there.
Yeah, I mean, Skep, I just want to hear kind of a quick breakdown. What are you seeing so far from Washington that's making them have the success they have?
To me, pretty plain and simple right now. Washington is taking fights together, and they have a group mentality, whereas most of these Matamidi fights are coming as individuals. They always have multiple players peeking behind them, so Washington is confident to take these gunfights, whereas the side of Matamidi is just trying to hang on, and right now they're falling apart. Look at this B site. It's already blown wide open, Epiphany.
Yeah, blown wide open, you can see, and Matamidi already trying to find their way through, but the wall is already set up. Washington is here. Yuhyun finds one, just barely gets out with his life. Great use of the Sage ability, and now it's going to be Sif, low HP, not much he can do. Here, Cornelia, she's able to find one. She gets two. Great two-piece, and another great round from Washington. They continue to let the dominoes fall in their favor.
Yeah, really, everything's just falling into place for them. Paraphernalia really capitalized there off the opportunities to get those picks and really stretched her wings there a little bit. Yeah, good round in general for Washington Tech.
For sure, it's a great round, and now as we gear up for the next one, it's going to be all eyes on Matamidi right now. What can they do to get their first round on the board? Because you are at the point of no return, at least for defending here pretty soon if you really don't get the ball rolling, because then it gets real difficult to make the comeback. You can see it's going to be Sage trying to do anything she can in the corner, taken down though 3 versus 3, as the trades do go in Matamidi for a little bit.
Here.
It's going to be now towards the back site. Lamb, what can he find? It's the first one, but maybe the two-piece as well. Shots in, not going to result in the kill. Almo getting that plant down 2 versus 2. It's a possible close round right here. Maybe Matamidi can pull it off.
Yeah, I don't know.
There.
That was
I don't know
almost
either. I mean,
that was almost it. I mean, that play back there in Boathouse, it was definitely a good move. If they had capitalized a little bit more off the fact that there was a little bit more surprise there to be taken advantage of, I think there could have been another pick or two there. But, you know, Washington Tech just are making sure sites are clear, and they're taking their time to make sure they are before risking a plant, for example.
yeah, for sure. And talk about a risk as well. You can see Washington going real quick towards this A site. There's also a risk for Matamidi here, though, too. If you're not ready for this quick assault, you're going to get taken down, and your numbers are going to get shredded very quickly. Presence detected, though, so now it's going to be Washington having to back off. You can see, though, that Matamidi all over A, already trying to figure out if there's a switchback happening, watching any kind of pinch, any kind of flank, chambered towards the back, trying to make sure that none of these Matamidi players push things out, but Washington trying to figure out what their next mode of attack here is. Are they going to re-attack A, maybe hit B out here? We'll have to see.
Yeah, they're playing slowly. They're taking their time for sure. They're betting definitely on Matamidi kind of falling out here, losing their confidence in where they're going, and just plotting them on B, for example, where they had... Oh, we have a disconnect.
Yeah, we do have a disconnect here. We'll have to see how that one goes. Yuhyun going to be one of those players, and that's something to definitely pay attention to. He's one of those key initiators here for the Washington squad, and talk about initiation, though, it's going to be Spread initiating the first blood on the round here. As we only have a little bit of time left, Washington, they got to get a move on here quick. They've been kind of staying outside of this A site for a while, having trouble finding their way in. Almo now, Omen abilities maybe to help him here in this situation, but still it seems difficult when all of the defense is over towards A, and now starts to spread over towards B as well. So Washington, not much they can do. They're going to get cut down eventually. Scythe with 1. It's going to be the first round to Matamidi, so if you're a Matamidi fan, you at least feel a little semblance of hope here for that round.
Yeah, time is here to cheer a little bit, and I think I'm going to pass this on to Skep here for a moment. Do you think that they buying Vandals in that situation and trying to shoot through smokes has any effect on gun choice? Do smokes have any effect on gun choice, rather?
All set up.
I think it's mainly agents that would affect gun choice, right? Obviously, a Phantom is more ideal to shoot through smokes, but I mean the weapon upgrades coming out, Matamidai finding advantage with who is it, Yuhion being disconnected now is like this is I guess this is Matamidai's time to strike. Oh yeah, Wi-Fi issue being the call. So hopefully going to be able to reconnect soon here. And I mean, Washington, instead of like playing the rounds out, they're just waiting for Jet. So I mean, I don't know. Trying to get a pause, but we'll see what happens.
This is kind of where it hangs in the
If-
air right here.
yeah,
we'll see.
If they didn't enable cheats in the pregame lobby, then they're not going to be able to pause it. So time's just being wasted. So somebody's got to tell them the unfortunate news. If cheats weren't on, then they got to go.
That is
Yeah, well,
unfortunate.
yeah, we'll see what happens here for Washington. I mean, strong start for them, of course, and now it might be propelled in the other direction if they can't get their players back in. However, you can see Mato
30
Midai.
seconds left.
They do have some good sportsmanship here, not just going for all of the the players that are sitting in spawn. They're trying to figure it out, trying to have a fair game here. So obviously that's very noteworthy as a good sense of respect for both of these teams. Hopefully we get this issue resolved though. Skep, I want to ask you, man, watching those initial rounds and watching what we've seen so far and honestly not knowing quite what's going to happen next, what are you looking at for Matamidai? What do they need to do here?
They need to show some sort of an adaptation. They haven't really changed anything. They've kept the same exact defensive setup. So it's really been Washington Tech walking around in that group format like we talked about, and Yuhion finding opening kills, plus the backup, right? They have looked much more coordinated, I would say, as a group. Their approach is much more solid, whereas these defenders, I mean, the big rounds where they've had rifles, granted, they haven't had rifles on many of these rounds. I don't think they've had many coordinated buys, maybe only one round so far. So hopefully Matamidai gets their funds right. But, they took gunfights at a one-on-one base. They weren't really peaking together, and that's a big thing to kind of apply to your gameplay in Valorant, especially in team settings.
Yeah, that is definitely a really interesting point, and I think I'm gonna pass another question to you. How do you feel about the rosters, both of them, and how do you think they mesh with Ascent, the map? Would you have rather seen other characters in play?
I mean, right now, I don't even think that the agent. All right, sweet. Yukion reconnected, so I think we're going to be getting right back into gameplay here as soon as this timeout expires. But I mean, for the agents, I haven't seen anything that's concerning or making me think that they should have more agent swaps. I mean, personally, Reyna's just not a good agent in team setting. Like, frankly, nobody should play her. But I think the thing at Mnvl and a lot of people do is they play comfort. So sticking to comfort is what we have here.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. We'll see if the comfortability of Washington, though, and their spot in the game here continues. A comfortable 6-2 lead as Matamidai was able to get yet another one, I believe, from that round, or possibly before. I can't quite recall, but regardless, starting to mount up a few rounds at least, and maybe they can start to get the ball rolling here after a little bit of an opportunity to talk with the team, figure out what's going on, and maybe think of a different approach here. As we were talking about adaptation, Skep, I think that's the big thing to consider. And well, now as we get things kicked off over towards this A site, it's going to be all abilities out. We'll see who decides to initiate the kills here, as Reyna going to be the first one in. You can see Jet as well. Yuhion back in the game, ready to go. KO, the stun's out though. Maybe you find one with that, but then you get knocked down if you're Sif. It's already kills going for Washington, 4 versus 3. Make that 2. Things start to crumble real quick.
Oh yeah, look at how quickly they're moving, and
Last player
the
standing.
plays on site here. We'll have to see what Waldo does here as he watches for everybody on site and gets picked off by the people watching the hallway angle there.
For sure, and well, it's going to be yet another round for Washington. T able to find that last kill there, and you can just see that across the board. I feel like it's probably decent KDs that we have for Washington. I mean, I feel like they're all winning their gunfights. They're making sure that they're staying on top of map control as well. I think they have everything strategically set up here on Ascent really quite well. Talk about setup, it's already gonna be their place that they try to go to. And when you look at the split for Matamidai, it's 1 towards the mid lane, 2 towards A, 2 towards B. If you're quick enough here in Washington, then I think you can get in pretty quick if you're able to take down some of these initial players. But talk about initial players, they're already finding their way there. It's going to be full rotation coming in from Matamidai. Carpinalia able to find one. She gets taken down eventually. It's kills for Washington, though, majorly. And now only 2 players left up.
Yeah, that Caraphanelia playing up there was definitely a huge opportunity that was taken advantage of. Of course, she does get that one pick. However, she definitely lets the other one go. That could have been an even larger move for Washington Tech, although it was not needed.
Now, here's what's interesting to me. Now they're deciding to opt over towards that A site. You can see the speed as well, 50 seconds on the game clock. They do have time to work with. Now Sleepy going to be getting that bomb down here, and you can see Chamber towards the top side spread. We'll see what he can find as Jet sits towards the top in a bit of an obscure position, but he's able to find the pick. That's the first one down. Smokes to go out. You can't see anything here. You gotta find your way onto the site. They'll figure out where the spike is. Bad timing comes through. You get taken down. But hey, at least you've got Lamp up. What can he do? It's the first one. 1 versus 1. Sleepy behind the smoke. You hop on the defuse. Is he even gonna check it? This could come all the way through. The timing again, not in the favor of Matamidai, and the check comes through just in the nick of time. Unfortunately, another round for Washington Tech.
Oh yeah, Sleepy definitely played it a little dangerous there. I think that it could have been a very different play if, for example, his teammates had marked the bomb, for example, and he just sprayed the smoke. Instead, he played the risk of moving the smoke, checking bomb with his own sight, and shooting on sight. It worked out in the end, but it was an unnecessary risk.
Yeah, risk is the key word here. What risk is Matamidai going to try to take to get the upper hand in this one? Talk about risk, though. Washington definitely taking a few. They're going very, very quick, and they're not watching that pinch right now. Number 1 Chamber could find his way through the backside. We'll have to see, but it may not even matter once Washington hopes to get full control of the site. Sif, able to get one for his efforts, may eventually get taken down here, though, pretty quickly, as it looks like bomb going to go down. It's full control here for Washington of the bottom side of the site. Now Matamidai trying to weave their way through to find a few picks.
1 enemy remaining.
Easily clearing sight here.
Oh, T!
Beautiful play by T there. They put so much pressure there on balcony, and they just got their way with it. Not much contention from not much contention from Matamidai. I mean, in general, they just were able to get the pressure in, get through their smokes, get bomb down, and then play picks later. Once the bomb's down, it's a pretty safe round for them. Matamidai really need to start getting some of these early round picks before bomb gets towards site.
Yeah, and hey, Skep, I just want to tune in with you real quick. Before we head into that last round before swap here, I just kind of want to hear your thoughts about how things have gone so far in these site takes.
You know, the site takes from Washington have been nothing but dominant from the start to finish. I mean, we say finally a first blood going over to Matamidai. I can't say that I've seen many of those this game, so we'll have to see how Washington adapt. But overall, their site takes have been very good so far through the half, and they're looking for double digits. Sleepy evens it back up, now 4v4. This round has heavy implications, man.
Yeah, insane implications, and when Sleepy's able to find a pick like that, though, and even out the numbers, you have the opportunity to make your way into this A site pretty well. Carpinalia, first one in, first one down, Lamp for the 2-piece. It's gonna be T now trying to weave her way through. As a fade here, it's gonna be 1, not the second, can't quite keep it up from the last round. 2v1, and now 2-0 here. It's Matamidai getting 3 on the board now. That final round did benefit them in that way. However, it's still triple the score for Washington. And talk about the scoreboard, 15-6 for Yuhyun. I was saying that he needed to be the one to show out on this Washington team, and he comes back in after a disconnect, still on the top.
Yeah, he's definitely proving himself a real player to look out for here in this league. He's just been very, very, very impressive throughout this entire first half of the game. We'll have to see how he does in the rest of the game. I would easily expect him to maybe even hit 30 by the end and still go probably double positive.
Yep, well, 4 to go here for Washington if they want to take this one away swiftly. However, Matamidai starting to try to put up a little bit of a fight. It's going to be an initial A push here. 2 players on the site for Washington. Yuhyun, first one to get involved. It's going to be T, though, being the first one to find the kills. He's able to find 2. Not the third through the smoke just yet. Fade proving useful, though, in order to get that utility on his side to try to find some of these kills. Spread, though, taken down as well. Now Washington really make the numbers slim and reduce them to 0.
Oh, very, very, very clean round for Washington Tech on the defense there. I mean, they really put their kind of momentum towards them this round and really just pulled out a very clean, flawless there to get their first buy round here. We'll have to see how Matamidai defend, especially with kind of an awkward buy here of everybody effectively saving except Surfed and one buy of the Stinger, which is definitely a good gun, but I don't think this is the proper time for it.
I mean, honestly, that's an interesting point. I could say that Sleepy's here to get a few kills. Jeez, Almo to pick one up as well. It's a 1 versus 4 already. And now it seems like the numbers start to dwindle. The time in the favor here of Washington and Matamidai. Not much you can do. Number 5, Omen, trying to find his way over towards the A site. No dice, though, so far as finding players as he weaves his way around. See if he can find anything useful here as far as a kill, an opening into a plant. I don't know. Lamp, what can you get? Maybe one here onto T, but the gun is up. Great job. And, you know, we were just talking about guns. I want to ask you, Cookie, elaborate on that Stinger a little bit more. I'm kind of curious about what you're thinking about the choices here that Matamidai and Washington are making in that department.
So, in my opinion, the buys need to be consistent between players, and in general, a kind of indecisive buy between players where one player happened to be buying a Stinger, for example, while the other players are all saving on classics, no shield, going full eco mode. I think it really affects the next round because that person is now unable to afford proper weaponry for the round. And in a round like round 3 on the half, it is very necessary to have the full amount of power.
For sure, and you know, I think that's a big thing that Matamidai struggles with is that they don't have the creds to get the power. It's just a rough situation to be in, and well, 3 versus 3 right now, maybe an opportunity for them to find an opening into the round. It's going to be Omen with bomb number 5 on your map towards that B site, possibly able to plant if Waldo can regroup here. He's able to get a few heals out, maybe a little bit of that slick out, and Carphanelia, maybe she'll have trouble finding the kill, but I guess not. It's an easy one for her, and Lamp in the corner able to find the first. Backs on out for the second. The shot's not in, though. Gets taken down once more, and now at match point here is Washington. Skep, what are you thinking here? What has been the downfall of Matamidai to where we are now?
0 coordination, 100% through and through. You can point it out to multiple different instances and areas of the game. Their buys aren't coordinated. There's so many rounds where, as Cookie said last round, people just can't even buy together. So that's part 1. Part 2 is how often they've been playing off each other, right? Like, it's just relentless aggression because Washington's at match point. Here we have it, man. If they can't start stringing together rounds right now, they are donezo and they are already spotted. This is going to be tough for Matamidai, and I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Washington close out here.
Yeah, I think Washington are here for the victory lap, and Sleepy, well, it's the first one with the sniper. T able to get another one with the Vandal, and you can see that things already start to crumble for Matamida. Here comes T for the next. Give T maybe another one. He's got it. And Washington has got the game locked in a 13-3 convincing manner. These guys are here to play this season, Cookie.
Oh yeah, totally. I think the one thing that's still in my head from that game is momentum. They really put all their momentum into all their plays. They made sure to put that momentum on their opponent to hopefully topple them over. It was just constant, let's push, let's play off each other, and let's make this work.
Yeah, man. I mean, it started and it didn't really end. And the only thing that derailed them giving up 2 rounds was Yuhyun DCing, man. So overall, an absolute stomp. Washington Tech showing that they're the real deal. They take out Mata Midai in absolute dominant fashion, man. Only losing 1 round. I'm not discrediting and counting those 2 rounds from the DC, man, because for real, like otherwise, I just genuinely think Washington Tech win that game in this convincing of a fashion. You saw it, right? It's just when you're playing 5v5s, right? Let's make this a point for all teams to move forward. You have to buy together. It is one of the most important parts of the game, right? Everybody being on rifles, aka the Vandal, the Phantom, or using an operator, right? You got to make sure that your buys are concise and together, because otherwise you're never really going to be on a powerful buy, right? And be able to combat what the other team is putting down, especially if they have shooters like Yuhyun, right? Like, I mean, multiple players that we saw. Who else? Give me the name. Sleepy. Sleepy was doing
Sleepy,
some
yeah.
work on that chamber, right? So overall, Washington Tech, man, looking dangerous through week 2. Any final thoughts, Epiphany? I mean, what did you see that you were liking from Washington Tech?
Honestly, I mean, I love flashy plays, flashy players. Yuhyun, that guy's POV is insane. I love watching him play, and I just look for that when I watch Valorant in general. And so, as we get ready for the next game, that's something I'm going to be looking at. And talking about the next game, Skep, we've got a banger matchup. We've got our champions, current 2-time reigning champions, Apple Valley, going up against Egan. So don't go anywhere, folks. We've got a great matchup. The return of Apple Valley with their first match of the season. They got to bye the first week. We'll see you guys soon.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. More Valorant action coming right up. That is right. We got Apple Valley, your defending Mnvl Valorant champions, and their opposition of Egan. So, two hungry schools coming at it again for game number two. Egan sitting at 1-0, and Apple Valley making their season debut. I mean, what are you guys liking about this matchup coming up?
You know what I really like about this matchup is we've got a strong team like Apple Valley who we have not seen play yet this season, who have champions on the roster, two-time champions. I'm especially looking at Eaton FPS in this specific matchup because that guy has been distant on this roster for so long. You know, he's been playing with Duck, like all of these big players from Apple Valley, Cubby, and they've moved on to college now. So their time at Mnvl is now over, but Eaton remains. You've got Santi. You've got a lot of other new guys I think we were talking about before, Skep. So this Apple Valley squad is going to be really interesting to look at going into this season. And then Egan, on the other hand, already 1-0. They got a nice win under their belt. We'll see what they can do against a strong Apple Valley.
Indeed, man. I mean, Cookie, if you're going up against the defending two-time champs, what is something that you think you would try to bring into your gameplay to spice it up, maybe throw them off guard a little bit to kick out your second game of your season?
Well, definitely to start, I'd pull out any trick I had up my sleeve, in my hat, in my sock. It would just, you have to bring it all here to try and beat them. Obviously, this is not necessarily the same team that has won the state last year,
Right.
and we'll have to see what happens. I mean, also, I think it would also be beneficial to bring it out maybe to a map that is not very they probably don't wouldn't practice very often, which is definitely not Ascent, which happens to be today's game map.
Right, man. The ascent factor being the MNVL Classic map. I mean, it's where so many historic battles have been fought throughout our league tenure so far. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it's a map that both teams usually have experience on. So, for better or for worse, it is a good proving ground and a middle of the pack kind of area to state, hey, we're the better team because we were able to take you guys out on ascent, right? It's just becoming one of the classic maps here on Valorant. So, I don't have too many problems with it. Let's go ahead and take another second to give a second shout out to our main esports org here at MN, bro. It's V1. These guys sticking with MNBL, giving us that big sponsorship here on the Valorant broadcast. Man, we wanted to talk about, man, I'll give a quick shout out. V1 has some amazing programs going on over there. Okay. They got visionaries helping out esports for ladies, right? Trying to help out and create a path, start out their journey. Epiphany, what else they got going on?
I mean, they've got the Vibe Squad, which is
Yes, sir.
awesome crew. If you have energy, if you want to be involved with esports as a career, you can go ahead and apply to that. I mean, when we were at the Rocker Major, those guys were all over making sure everybody was hype
Oh
during
yeah.
that Optic versus Minnesota match. That was intense. They were making sure everybody was having a good time. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure to go check that one out on the VERSION1 website.
Yep, for sure. Indeed. Tons of good stuff going on with our fam over at V1. So we appreciate the sponsorship, bro. But now, back to it, guys. Game two, we are going back to Ascent, but I really feel like the tempo and the pace of play that these two squads are playing at is going to feel a little bit hotter than what we got
Mm-hmm.
last game. Yeah, Washington Tech showed that they had what it takes to take out Matamidai, but, let's be honest, I just don't think that Mata Midai's level of play is really equal caliber to what Apple Valley and Egan are sitting at right now. These two teams,
Yeah.
Egan was one game away from making it to state last season. They lost a 16-18 overtime game to a top competitor, heartbreaker, and obviously Apple Valley, your current MNVL Valorant kings and queens, man. Got to tip your hat where it's due. And right now, Apple Valley trying to continue that championship prowess that they have held the entirety of Valorant's lifespan here at MNVL, man. Going to be action packed and coming up in just a few moments. I can't wait. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, really excited to see what happens here. We'll definitely go into this with a interesting outlook on Apple Valley and Egan. I think everybody collectively can say there's a little part of them that wants to see a team like Egan trump the champions and maybe create a new path and maybe a new reign. We'll have to see what happens. Apple Valley have a slightly fresher squad. We'll have to see how they do skill-wise compared to their old selves, and Egan's definitely going to have something to contend with.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at these two squads, I think I would not want to underestimate either of them. And that whole through line, right, where we have Ascent, this map that is so played in MNVL matches. Like, if you can beat a team on Ascent, that is your baseline. You know you are better than that team. Go to the next one. Figure out, can you beat them? I feel like that is a big, big thing about MNVL, is because this one map is played so heavily, you really, really can kind of gauge where you're at easier. And now as we look on over towards who's getting locked in, it's going to be a bit more thinking going in for both of these teams. They've got a whole 30 seconds to figure this one out. Only lock-in so far for Egan going to be that Sage for Tobio. As far as Apple Valley goes, nothing locked in so far. Looks like we're going to get that fade for Mr. Eaton. See what he decides to do with that character. But Cookie, I kind of want to ask you, as these lock-ins come in real quick, what are you seeing as the strategy here?
I'm definitely seeing a prevalence with Brimstone here, which is really interesting compared to some of the other comps. We'll have to see how they end up utilizing his utility. I expect to see probably a lot of lineup play going into this with Egan having also Sage. A lot of potential there for lineups with Brimstone as well. We're also seeing KO come out on both sides, usually a very good counter for someone like Chamber, which is only on the side of Apple Valley today.
Yeah, for sure. And, as we go back to our main screen here just for a second, as we get loaded into the game, I think a real big thing that you want to look at is this increase in fade play. I feel like I noticed fade being in more of these matches than usual. And I'm not quite sure why that is. I don't know if you have any idea, but I'm noticing more of that.
Oh yeah, Fade's utility is simply some of the best in the game. Her abilities definitely overwhelm players when they're affected by it. It's just an overload of status effects, and it definitely plays to the advantage of the person pushing the site. So a lot of teams are just going to take advantage of that, and frankly, she's a really good character because of it.
Yeah, both teams got a fade, and we've got a Reyna lock-in here for Egan. Kind of one of those comfort agents a little bit, as we were talking about before. But hey, maybe it actually plays into the strategy here, and we'll see that Reyna pop off. But it is going to be now finally ready to start the next game here of the evening.
And
Egan versus Apple Valley. Looks like, yeah, something's going on here, but... teammate crash, it looks like, from one of the Egan players. Santi's here and ready to go if something happens, though, but seems like right now we've got a disconnect here within the lobby, and we're just going to have to kind of wrap back and see what happens. We might be resetting here. It's first round, first 30 seconds, no kills, so this should be an easy one to reset. We'll make sure everything gets situated here, Cookie.
Yeah, here we go into the round with already off with the Brimstone mollies and the Stim Beacon. Stim Beacon definitely going to play to the advantage if you push into sight here. KO detected them all. Their position is definitely known now. Let's see if they play Cat here.
Yeah, we'll see. And as you can see, Egan already trying to find their way back over towards mid. They know that A site is dangerous, covered in Apple Valley players. And you can see now they wrap back actually back up over towards A little bit of a fake out there. We'll see if AV is going to adapt to this one. Two players inside. It's going to be Brim. It's going to be Chamber. Now you just got to initiate this one quick if you're Egan before the rest of Apple Valley gets there. Initial kills in. Santi able to get one. He backs out. No ammo for Totoro. It's going to be Eaton, though, finding a few for himself. It's going to be 3 or 4 on 2 right now for Apple Valley. Egan, you gotta find your way in. It's only KO left up. They have been sliced apart. Mini You don't have anywhere to run. You get sliced down by Eaton again. And I think that's a 3K in the round for Eaton already on the first round here within our game.
Yeah, minced without much consequence. I mean, they lost one player. It could have been flawless, but overall just a good round for Apple Valley to open with. They're really getting these picks, getting their money, and as we can already see here, Egan going for their primarily save buy with pistols, and into this round, it's an expected Egan loss here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difficult part about it, right? You've got the Brim smoke already out trying to cloud that entry from Egan. We'll see if they can find their way to bust through the front door here. However, it's going to be all about those players on your mini-map rotating through 3 and 5. Finding that pinch, you're going to get locked in here soon. Towards the mid-side, engagements go down. Rookie trying to put shots in, but Egan, they're not budging from their current squad position. They're all together in a clump, but what happens then, you get pinched out a little bit by Apple Valley. It can be kind of difficult to get out of this mid part of the map now because they have everything covered.
Yeah, I mean, look at all this utility coming down on Catwalk here. It's just overall just trying to block them out. And as we get some picks here with Sadie, and they peek, and he's lost. Here comes the other guy. They're really trying to make a move into mid here, even though it's really not working, and they're smoked out quite effectively. They don't really have much to play here. And the round closes out with a kill.
Yeah, no ice right there. It's going to be Apple Valley staying consistent still. 4 players left up there in the end. You can tell the teamwork is on point. I mean, I feel like there's almost like just a succession of Apple Valley players. Like, that school just consistently produces capable players and good teams, and they keep teaching one another. I think that's a big, big part of why they are so successful, is they have that mentorship component all the time, and you can see it in the way that they have their teamwork set out. Look at the split on the map. It's going to be Apple Valley covering all angles, but it's going to be Egan rushing over towards this B site. Karumi, info going to be acquired. Now he backs out, plays his life. Don't want to reduce those numbers too early. Egan finding their way in, though. This could be the opportunity. It's going to be shots in from Karumi through the Marshall. Not quite finding one just yet. Totoro, though, able to break first blood. Egan now with the man disadvantage. It's going to be Dongshi and its EPAC. Able to find a couple, though, as well. So it's going to be Apple Valley with numbers reduced. Chamber, last one up. Rookie with the 2-piece with the Reyna. Santi able to trade one out, and now it's just him left. Does he have the ice in his veins?
It's going to be extremely difficult to peek out on this smoke here. It's played in such a way that he doesn't have very many angles to play out of, and he's got multiple people on where he is. It might not last very long for him. He might have to try mid if he wants to get through to anything here. He doesn't really have the time to wait around for this smoke and get bombed.
I mean, we know how good this guy is. He can do it. But you do have to consider the fact that bomb is going to be down. You get rid of one. Can you get the second? No, you can't. First round for Egan. Already more competitive than our last game, but I think it's too early to tell. But Mr. Skeptor, what are you seeing early on here?
2 really good rounds from Apple Valley to kick open this one, but then Egan bounces back on the critical gun round, right? So the first round, Egan can afford those rifles. They purchase up, and they find it. They get down to a 3-on-1, and they take out Santi. I mean, you know, a tough round, but now a bounce back opportunity. Apple Valley have weaponry themselves, so a very explosive round on the horizon here for number 4. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll see right now if maybe Egan gets another one on the board. They can equate that score line. They are split right now, playing for some of that information. I kind of wonder what their approach is going to be here as things kind of rest stagnant right now, Cookie. I mean, you've got Apple Valley pretty spread out. If you're Egan right now, what's your approach?
You know, they're definitely, from what it seems, playing for a pick here, trying to find if a defender plays aggressively, take a pick, and move in through that gap. But I think at this point, they're probably reading that they're going to have to put the pressure on themselves as Tobio falls.
Yep, and now it's going to be Egan with man disadvantage once more. Still bomb in hand, though, as they try to rotate on over towards B. Saldai, great shots out, not going to find one just yet. Presence detected, though. Smoke goes down, 2 from the brim. It's going to be Karumi, though, finding the first one on the site. Epac, he's not going to peek that one. The numbers are too slim. It'd be too risky. Karumi is, though. He's here for the kill. Only Fade left up for Egan, and this could be a flawless round from Apple Valley. If Dongshi isn't able to find one, make it 2. Can't get the third just yet, but you start to break down the numbers a little bit. The problem, though, you only got 12 seconds left.
10 seconds left.
Here we go into the final 12 seconds. Dongshi, that was an amazing clip. Hopefully they saved that somehow. That was amazing to watch that 2K happen. This play, though, is over and the round is done. Not much they could have done here. It's just game over at that point.
Yeah, not much there. I mean, again, like, it's all about, do you have the ice? And usually, and not always easy to get some of those clutch situations. And you can see that on the scoreboard right now, things are looking good for Mr. Santi, 5-1. Keeping things strong here for Apple Valley, but Dongshi as well, 4-2. Those two were able to propel him forward. However, right now it feels kind of even still. It feels like Egan are just kind of feeling out the water a little bit, seeing what the temperature is, and if they can find some kind of method to attack Apple Valley's strategy. But right now it's going to be an A push here with information over towards B. You got to watch out, though, because the pinch could come through from AV. Now over towards the A site, Egan tries to go, but Apple Valley, they are there on the defense.
Yeah, looking at ultimates here, Tobio just picked up an ult orb for Sage Res. That could definitely come into play later on here. That could definitely turn the tide in some of these battles where they're just down maybe 1-2 people and could really use the man advantage. Looking at the round here, though, they're moving mid very, very tough. I don't think Santi knows and falls to the Reyna in mid.
Yep, it's a 3 versus 3 now. The trades do come through eventually, and now as 40 seconds remain on the board, it's going to be Egan moving together as a unit. That's what I like to see. Now they try to get on over towards that A site, possibly get that spike planted. Apple Valley on the approach, but they're a bit separated right now. However, that means they can time this one right from a few different angles. Epac going to get that plant down. It's going to be up to Apple Valley to get that retake locked in. They do have time to work with here. Totoro, I like this use of the breach. You can get some of those angles smoked off, find your way in. Karumi, though, the jet, the shots are so accurate per usual. 2v2 on the site.
Yeah, here we go into site play. They're going to have to really coordinate here, give each other calls, and that is Totoro down. It's down to Karumi here.
Yeah, Karumi, the last one up. What can he find? Shots into one, gonna result in the kill. Does he have the ice? Can he get the next one? He goes over to defuse, but I don't think he knows that this player is just waiting in the midst for the defusal. Great gameplay there from Rookie. Plays his life so well on this site. Plays the positional advantage. Knows the defuse time, gets those checks in, and, well, not much you can do there if you're Karumi. Bad timing doesn't favor you, and now you're up 3-2. However, it's a bit closer. And Skep, I mean, I feel like things are evolving here for Egan. Would you say the same?
Yeah, I think that was a pretty lackluster round, honestly, from Apple Valley. A pretty disappointing round to give up. You know, we were talking about this team, and I think that was just a lack of discipline, right? They overexerted themselves, and they got thriftied. I can't say that I recall a time of Apple Valley getting thriftied in the past 2 seasons before this. So definitely showing some weakness early on here, as Egan keeping it close, but now the KO ulti coming out. So we'll have to see. Weaponry not that high, so Egan could definitely strike again and even up the scoreline at 3-3 if they could have another successful round here. And now they're attacking. The push is coming out quick.
The hunt begins.
Yeah, coming out quick indeed, and you can see Karumi jet ult out, but not going to result in any dice. It's going to be Totoro finding yet another one. Egan man advantage. Santi finding another one as well with Chamber. 3v 1v3. Hostiles
player
detected
standing.
though, so there's going to be
One
information
enemy
here for
remaining.
KO. Saldai, can you get the clutch up? I think you find one. Totoro able to find one at least, and now Saldai trying to find the trade out. Shots in, not going to result in the kill just yet. Now you go for the challenge. The shots are not there, and Tobio Kageyama from Egan able to equate the scoreline. I mean, this guy Skep has like all the predictions saying, you know, they might be able to equate this one right here, tie this one up, and sure enough, they did it.
Here comes the game together, though, as stated before. I mean, they even the score here. This is going to be. It looked at first it was not going to be as even of a game as it's going right now. With the Guardian coming out, this is going to be an interesting round for the teams combined. I hope to see some of these ultimates come out. KO and Brimstone are going to provide a ton of area denial for Apple Valley.
Yeah, and talk about area, it's going to be Egan trying to cover as much area as possible on this B site, trying to find their way in. Karumi backing up, though. You gotta get rid of that situation real quick, otherwise you will be flooded. It's going to be Egan kind of standing still in this corridor right now over towards B main, as Apple Valley as well trying to be here on the defense. No players up, though, in the site right now, as Brim tries to find his way through. Totoro, you're the last one up now. The shots are not there again, and Egan, they have taken the lead. Apple Valley trying to start the season off strong, but Egan here to try to stop them.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a really, really interesting half to see how it goes until we hit halftime. Halftime is definitely gonna show us if Apple Valley maybe lost some of their skills on one half of the map. We'll see. This is again a full rifle buy for both teams, full shield, everything. With those ultimates from last round still up, they're waiting to take advantage of those, which they definitely should if they're going to continue to lose these rounds.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about the ults, the usage can be immense if used properly. See if Tobio can find some kind of information over towards this B main. No players just yet, however, shots are in towards Saldai. Egan covering middle right now. This is an interesting strategy for sure. They've got that control, but you look towards the top side of your minimap and you do have Apple Valley kind of getting that control over both of those sites, pushed over towards the middle. I think right here, both teams are playing for information, figuring out who's going to draw that first blood. Mini trying to find that first blood for the Egan squad. Nothing just yet. Detection's in, though. It's an information game right now. Here comes the action, though. Egan pushing into the side corridor. Karumi and Eaton, though, they got their gun up. They're ready to go. Karumi for another. The shots aren't in by Egan. They've let out the animal in them. Dongshi, the only one to get a kill for Egan, and honestly, Cookie, what an interesting round that was, because it was standstill. It was a standoff towards the middle of the map and towards lots of other angles too, and eventually one team makes a move and suddenly the dominoes just fall so quickly for Egan.
Yeah, I think Rookie and Mini were trying to both get that pick in mid on side-eye, but it just didn't work out for a while. And then as they pushed up and fell into market, they finally decided to use that area denial to push those people out of market and into the hands of the players coming around and to sweep the round. And it was overall just a good use of utility.
Incredible use of utility, and when we talk about utility, that is what our initiators are for. They need to use that utility to find a way into these sites. For example, a site right now for Egan, what can they do? Rookie trying to find his way in, nothing just yet. Karumi, though, Jet, one of those initiators for the defensive side right now for Apple Valley. As he tries to get these kills, he's able to find two. Saldai, Santi finding yet another one as well. Only Brimstone left up for Egan. Cut him down. EPAC, you're out. Apple Valley, they are looking better now, and they are executing these rounds almost flawlessly.
Oh yeah, they're definitely picking up the pace here and just cleaning up the rough edges. They're just going to keep stringing some rounds together and try to keep that economy rolling.
Yeah, and I mean, the economy is an interesting thing, right? When you look at this, creds, nothing above 2,600 for the side of Egan, so that's definitely going to hurt you in the long run. When it comes to Apple Valley, they've got those resources available, so they have that advantage. Right now, if you're Egan, you need to be careful with those creds. You need to start getting some of that money up. Talk about adaptation, though. This is kind of one of our big themes that we've been looking at tonight. Right here, Egan, they consistently do push this A site, and Apple Valley, they adapt to it very, very quickly, but they have found success in it before, so they're trying to rely off of that. But maybe right here they do something different. They might be wrapping back. I can't quite tell yet. It seems like that's the call that they're making, maybe towards the mid side. I don't know, Cookie. I mean, the strategic approach here from Egan, definitely something that you can debate about. What are your thoughts?
It's weird to me, just out of the pure fact that I would assume the use of smokes there, the way they were moving push, they would bait out that push and instead wait out to push in again. But it seems that they're trying to play cat and main here to try and get pressure on this site, and I think they're about to get into conflict.
30 seconds left.
Well, talk about conflict. It's starting up here. You can see 4 versus 4 right now. Oh, the shots are good from Tobio.
Spike down
He's able
A.
to get one bullet in there. Not enough to get the kill, I believe, if I saw that correctly. But 2 versus 4 right now. Man advantage, Apple Valley. Not much time to work with if you're Egan. Karumi able to find one, and it crumbles again. Karumi and Santi are looking good right now. Apple Valley consistently pulling off these good rounds. And Scap, I mean, what changed, right? It was pretty competitive, and now Apple Valley are starting to get a few in a row.
Apple Valley are playing, they're reading these A hits coming at them, right? They were stacking accordingly, and they were playing well off the backs of each other. You see those kill feeds lighting up, everybody shooting and firing together at the same time. On the horizon, though, an adaptation from Egan, and it could be a fast B hit. We'll see how Apple Valley reacts.
See how they react indeed, and they are going fast, as you said. Abilities out. It's going to be who finds the kills in the site. 2 for Apple Valley, 2 for Egan. It's a 4 versus 3 now as the trades go down. 3v3. 6-4 is the round count. It's going to be Apple Valley trying to continue to widen that margin right now, as Egan, though, trying to make it slimmer, finding their way into the site. However, it's Sage only left up. Has Spike, though. Does Tobio have the ice? This is a hard situation right here when Apple Valley are completely lined up on the door that you need to get through, and you are having your position known completely.
That was a really difficult push to watch. Watching Reyna push in there, just missing that angle. Teammates were passing that angle, and there was little to communicate, not only that someone was there, that they were shooting, or maybe it's just the fact that they never checked in the first place that led to half their team dying. And I think overall, if we look at the play, just a miscommunication led to that play's downfall.
For sure, yeah. I mean, the miscommunication is kind of one of those big things to point out, right? Is like, Egan, you can have the strategy set up, you can know what you gotta do, but if you're not communicating where these Apple Valley players are and stat, you are gonna get cut apart very easily against a communicative and team-based Apple Valley squad. And now we head back on over towards A. It's going to be Apple Valley, not with the presence here right now, so if Egan go, they can maybe find their way in. Chamber eventually going to pop that teleport, doesn't want to deal with all of that pressure. Egan, though, this is what you like to see. They're starting to apply that pressure. Santi, Dongshi, each finding one for their own, making it a 4 versus 4. Spike down, eaten for 1. It's going to be a 3 versus 4. Man advantage to Apple Valley now towards top side of heaven. However, it's going to be Egan in the site. 4 versus 4. Who's gonna come out on top of the kills? It's Saldai with 2, EPAC with yet another for the trades, but Egan able to respond. It's gonna be the trades in the favor of Apple Valley in the very end, and they're able to get that defusal off with enough time remaining.
Post-plant positioning on the side of Egan really failed them there. That was a really smart and calculated push. Some of the use of utility is really unique. they definitely had to practice the use of that KO flash and its positioning out of the smoke as they push onto site, and to coordinate as a team to move out after it pops is a huge goal. And they make it work. They move in, they get the site really easily, but then post-plant, it falls apart when Apple Valley just are able to pick away at them.
Yeah, I mean, Skep, I just kind of want to ask you what you're seeing so far. Some of this, little bit of a crumble here from Egan. I mean, they started off kind of getting some of those kills, but now it's looking a little bit more lackluster.
You know, I wouldn't so much say that it's Egan playing worse. I would say it was more Apple Valley was heating up, right?
Yeah.
They just had a bit of a slower start. That thrifty round kind of caught them by surprise. It took them a couple rounds to recover, but now here they are on the attack side of things and kicking it off early, man. Open it up nicely.
Spike
On the
down.
kill feed.
Yeah, opening it up nicely indeed, and Spike going to be in the hands here of Apple Valley, trying to get this one planted. Egan not going to have enough up. The shots ain't in. Santi, you find a two-piece. You cut the numbers down easily here. Now you have full control of the site. If you're Apple Valley, Egan towards the top side, trying to figure this one out. Figure out how they want to weave their way around this site. And Kurumi, though, he's already watching, waiting. Knock, knock. Here they come out the front door. Kurumi able to take them both down effortlessly.
Kurumi holding the angle there definitely sealed the round. That's a very interesting off angle. It's surprisingly common once you start getting into higher end play, but it's still interesting to see angles like that come out with. But yeah, overall, it was just a clean round.
For sure, very, very clean round. And now as we kind of get more into the gear of this side switch as Apple Valley's on that attack, one thing that you'll notice from them is how orchestrated their attacks are and how speedy they are. They know what they want to do and they do it quick. Tobio here on the front lines with the Sage, however suppressed by KO right now. This is the opportunity for Apple Valley to find their way in. They are a careful squad. They are a careful mechanism. If they want to try to find the way to the front here. Egan already getting those rotations off. Watching the flank as well. It's getting messy towards the middle of the map. Number 4 getting caught out. Santi hits that teleport at the perfect time. Has that information locked in now, but you gotta watch out for number 8 with the pinch. Looks like he's gonna retract to his teammates. Tobio shots into the shotgun, not gonna result in a kill as Egan, they are sitting ducks right now towards the back, but now they push in. You can see Eaton finding that kill though. 3 versus 5, Eaton on the site. It is going to be Apple Valley taking control.
Remaining.
Yeah, not much team play with Tobio there, or at least low communication about it. Tobio kept their shot on Kurumi as they came onto site, even though it should kind of be common sense that you're never going to hit a shot with a Bucky that far away. They should have just focused on the people coming through the door, tried to collect something while Kurumi was focusing on other people.
For sure, and well, talk about collecting. It's going to be Apple Valley collecting yet another round for the scoreboard. 10-4 right now, 17-9 for Mr. Santi, 11-6 for Eaton, and then you got Kurumi 16-5. So new guys doing well too. Saldai 10-8, 8-7. I like what I see here, and then you've got Dongshi as well with that 10-11 for the side of Egan, trying to put in the work. However, the team effort, the teamwork, just not fully there all the time here for Egan. As Apple Valley, they are just one step ahead, I feel like. And as Skep said earlier, Egan doing what they were doing before, but Apple Valley always just putting one foot in front of the other a little bit quicker as now they get ready for the B site. It's going to be Egan getting that rotation in real quick, though. We'll see who opens things up first.
Yeah, here we go into the round. This is definitely already kind of off to a shaky start. Not a lot of utility coming out. Oh, and we're kind of splitting up here. Everybody is kind of moving on Apple Valley, at least, is moving towards A site. They're generally just trying to bait out, try to see if they can leave something open for them to take. And clearly it's worked as bomb comes down and a few picks come out on backside.
Yep, Santi gonna get that bomb down now. Bottom side heaven, he waits and lurks for Egan to pop their head up out front. We'll see if they can find the momentum here to maybe get a few kills going on this site. They do have man advantage, 4-3 right now, but it is going to be a bit difficult for them to find their way in when Apple Valley is all over the site. And all of the concentration of players towards top side heaven. Santi now towards the bottom, trying to find a pick. 3 versus 3 now as some kills do come through. Santi with 1, EPAC with the trade, 2v2. Bottom side of heaven, Eaton and Totoro waiting for this bomb to go off. Not enough time for the defusal. I mean, that's just another good Apple Valley round right there. They just wait, they are patient, they make sure that bomb does not go off. Skep, analysis of that one?
And Apple Valley are just putting on a clinic. They are 2 rounds away from closing out this game 1 of their season. The rotate and the fake play comes out and works just to perfection. An entire rotation immediately from the Egan defenses. No patience, no really kind of waiting to see if it was going to be the entirety of the squad. And it ended up not being the case. Now Egan's finances are shot, man. They have back to garbage weapons, if you will. And Apple Valley is sitting high on these rifles. So I think Egan is looking down a dark hole here, and match point almost certainly coming to Apple Valley.
Yeah, the credit's not looking good for Egan, and you will suffer in the long run for that one. Tobio, what can you do? Nothing. Saldai takes you down. It is getting close to match point here for Apple Valley, as you said, and Totoro getting that bomb down. Apple Valley, full control. They are swarming the site. Egan towards the top, though. What can you do, KO? Mini, maybe a bit of action to happen. Saldai, though, the other KO takes you down. 3 versus 5 right now. It's gonna be another one for Dongshi, though. Try to equate those numbers a little bit here, Cookie.
Yeah, here we go. The air is definitely running out for Egan here as we get towards the end of the game, and they're definitely feeling it. They're trying to really make this work, but it's just falling apart here as they just keep falling as they don't have a foot on site to play with. They can't pull anything open. They're too far away, and they run
Eaton.
right in.
Oh no, that's why you don't walk into Eaton's trap right there. What a 2-piece from the kid to bring it to match point. And I gotta tell you, that is what Apple Valley does. They have those star players that consistently show out, that consistently know how to play good Valorant. I mean, just bottom line, right? And so that's what I'm looking at here when you look at Eaton, when you look at Santi, and all these other Apple Valley players who are on the come up here. I think they brought some from the JV squad, and it's just really kind of a growing team. And well, now we head on over towards the side of Apple Valley once again. Mr. Eaton, what can you do to break in? EPAC, what can you do to try to stop him? That's the question at hand. But look at Saldai hitting the route through the middle of the map. Free Fire's out, not finding anything just yet. Maybe this route could help Apple Valley open this one up even more. Dongshi taken down, man advantage to AV.
Here we go. This is the final round, and they're really playing this really strong. That move through Cat on mid was just genius. It plays really well with the 2 people in main, and it's just the perfect amount of people. Along with the KO ult, it really just was a symphony of an A push.
Yep, Karumi now towards the bottom side of the site. Apple Valley with that spike down. 3 versus 3. You can get something going if you're Egan, but that's the first one to crack it wide open. Tobio able to find the first. Can you line it up for the second, though? Karumi, you're going to take 1 down, but it's going to be the trade by EPAC. And Totoro, last one up, last one down. Egan, they stay alive, they hang on by a thread, and they take yet another round.
Egan are not going to go down without a fight here. They're definitely going to try to make this work. It's EPAC taking that kill there is a very, very important part of their bid to try and bring back this game even just a little bit. We'll have to see how they continue to profit off of this. It's EPAC now has his ult. That'll definitely be good push denial for these very, very strong pushes. If they can coordinate to bring people to sites or places that they plan to push after being denied a site, this could be an easy round for Egan if they make it work.
Yeah, totally could be. I mean, they just have to be very careful. They have to execute well, communicate well, and as we get things started here now on this match point round. It's going to be Apple Valley kicking things off with that first blood. Kurumi able to find the first. We'll see what he can do for maybe the second. Blinded by KO here for a moment as trades do go through. 4v4. Dongshi able to find one, but look at that Sol die. Quick on the trigger to respond. And yet another one on Daruki. He gets the double there. Now you open things up on the site. Spike going down. It's going to be a 2 versus 4. Egan, you don't have the players up. You get shut out. You get shut down. Apple Valley, they are trying to keep their dominance.
Man, keep the dominance. Indeed, they do. You know, it took them a little bit to get to that form, like I said, but in the end, they show out. They only drop one more round after allowing the game to be tied up at 4-4. And I really felt like a switch flipped right in that Apple Valley camp there. You know, they were kind of losing some rounds that they shouldn't have been losing. I think something must have been said from the IGL and the Cap Eaton, right? He must have addressed the team, been like, guys, you know, we're playing a little bit lazy, a little bit undisciplined. They were pushing out on rounds that they shouldn't have been. And then after that, and from that moment on, man, it was clean house. Apple Valley start their season 1-0, and Egan drop back to 1-1. So overall, pretty good gameplay from both squads.
Yeah, definitely. It was just a very, very good game from Apple Valley. That definite warm-up period was very obvious. The just switching gameplay was very apparent, and I don't think Egan were ready for that. They were caught a little off guard for that reignition of game speed and momentum, and they just couldn't counter it, or at least didn't have the coordination to.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, coordination just kind of was the key thing to look at there in those matchups. And, you know, Apple Valley, the coordination is kind of always there. You've got a strong IGL who has been on that squad for a while, like Eaton leading these guys. You've got the mentorship. I mean, I feel like these are all components of a successful AV squad. And, you know, they were hungry to play too. That's another thing to consider. They were 0-0 because they got that bye week at the beginning. And so they were dying to play. They come in here on stream, win their first match. I mean, these guys are looking good.
Yeah, man. Looking good. And I mean, that's the exact form that you want to see coming out from your defending state champs. Apple Valley looking to go for a three-peat here in Valorant. Folks, we are going to get ourselves an interview figured out. When we come back, we are going to be graced with one of these players from the Apple Valley squad. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after a quick break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The favorite portion of the evening, closing segments here. We get a chance to interview one of our Mnvl superstars. And tonight we are very fortunate to be graced by the actual IGL. Our apologies, Santi from AVHS. How are you doing tonight, big fella? And how are you feeling after those games?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling great about that game. It was a rough start at the beginning, but like we pulled through.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I'm glad that you are confident with that one and kind of how things went. So good game from you guys. But I kind of want to ask you. There's been some changes on Apple Valley with Duck, Cubby gone. Like, you guys have had to figure out how you want to move this team forward, and so there are new players on the roster. What does that mean for you guys? Like, what are your goals because of that?
We've had to change our play style a lot, I think. We've like been relying on each other more. Like before I think we were all more like independent players, and now we kind of have to like have more team synergy.
Hmm.
Cookie, you got a question for him?
Yeah, that's definitely that's definitely what the gameplay showed, and I think you're better off for it. It looks really great, but how do you feel that may have influenced that little reignition period you had towards round 6, where you started putting all the gas into the cylinders and really pushing after having a little bit of a rut against Egan?
Yeah, that's when we were like kind of stuck. We like were trying to figure out. We decided to change where everybody's playing, try to like throw some like oddballs here and there. Like it was kind of tough. We were considering taking a timeout, but I think we like just had to like slow the pace down and not get too aggressive. We just had to play back a little bit more.
Gotcha. I mean, the pacing is a big thing, right? Like, that is something that's part of the adaptation as you move forward, and you guys did a good job of doing exactly that. You changed that, you realized the pacing needed to be different, and you went and changed that right away. But big thing I want to ask you is about the teams moving forward, and I think Cookie has something to ask you about the season forward. But before that, I want to know, going forward within the season, what are the teams that you are looking at playing? Who are you excited to match up against?
Of course, I'm always excited to go against SLP, but it looks like we don't get to play them for a long time. I'm excited to see all the new schools that I haven't seen play yet either, because it's always like exciting to see new people and like play against people because they could be like really, really good and we won't even know it until we face them.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, that's really good to hear that you guys kind of have somebody you really want to play. That's kind of super cool and almost a little rare here in the league to have like a I want to play this team, and I like to hear it. And in general, what are your prospects for the rest of the season? What do you feel like accomplishing here?
Again, I really want to go to state and win state again. That's like our main goal, number one. We practice a lot. Well, we practice a lot and we like try to keep strats and we try to anti-strat teams. So we're trying to like stay ahead of the game by like 10 steps forward.
For sure. Santi, as always, well spoken, humble in victory, man. It's a pleasure having you on the desk. I know Apple Valley is going to bounce back and just look, like a very good form, a second coming of an Apple Valley squad. So we are excited to see your guys' journey through the remainder of the season. Dude, do you have any final closing shout outs? Anything you want to say? Any teammate calls? Any coaches? What you got for
I
me?
just want to appreciate my whole entire team and especially Coach Duck. He really helps us get like move forward. He's our inspiration. Coach Duck, I love him.
Coach Duck. And that would
Awesome.
happen to be Duck in a toilet, right? The previous
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Apple Valley goat, right? Yes, sir. All right, there it is, man. Once ducks fly together, or not, I guess that's not the term because you guys aren't the ducks. But anyways,
We're his
Coach
baby
Duck
ducks.
running the show. You're the baby ducks, I guess. He's Mama Duck. So there you have it, Coach Mama Duck. Thank you, Santi, for coming out to the broadcast. It's always fun to talk to you, and we'll see how you guys do the rest of the season.
All right, no problem. See y'all later.
Dude, what a fun interview, guys. What a fun set of games tonight. I mean, week 2 closing out with Apple Valley making their debut and presence known right from the get go. Epiphany and Cookie, tell me some stuff about what you guys saw and you liked tonight, whether it was game 1 or game 2. Epiphany, let's start with you.
I mean, honestly, what I really, really liked about tonight was seeing Washington with that consistency. We went into this match not knowing how they would do against another team, and they went and they swept Matamidai, and they did
Right.
such a great job of it. I mean, their communication was clearly on point, their strategy. These guys are starting to look like a threat as we go forward here in the season. Maybe a bit too early to tell, but I definitely have my eye on them if I'm a squad like Apple Valley, who also did a great, great job tonight. And, they started to pick things up after a little bit. And I think with this new Apple Valley squad, once they really, really get their pieces together here, I think they're going to become even better throughout the season. And that's what makes me worried if I'm any of these other teams about a possible three-peat.
Cookie, how about you?
Yeah, definitely started off the night really strong with Washington Tech. That was a really interesting game to see, really highlighted kind of the value in communication and coordination. And then we move on to Apple Valley. Apple Valley was such an interesting game to watch with their kind of turn on there halfway through the first half, and just in general, the way they play, it's always just such a marvel to me. And it's interesting to always study and see how teams like Egan try to prevent it and work against it until maybe someday someone will have the answer to it. But I definitely see them going very far this season.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
mean, I like it. Two good games, right? We didn't necessarily get a super close matchup. Game two started close, but then the champions shined through, man. Overall, a very fun broadcast, man. I appreciate both you guys being on the commentator desk with me. We want to appreciate Santi again for coming out to the interview desk. And as always, I want to thank everybody in the Twitch chat, everybody supporting MNVL at home. You guys are the reason we are pumping this out, right? The students, everybody that's participating and taking some pride in a piece of MNBL. We will see you guys back here again tomorrow as Smash and Minecraft will be gracing the MNBL stream. But as always, have a great rest of your night. Enjoy your Wednesday evening, and we will catch you guys back here for more action tomorrow at 5. Take care, everybody.